Hello, folks. I'm Josh McGee, and I'm honored to be joined with today by the current managing director of Chattanooga Football Club and the former vice president and general manager of St. Louis FC, Jeremy Alumbaugh. Jeremy, thanks so much for joining me today.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me. Good to catch up.
It's good to be hearing from you again. A lot to discuss, a lot to get to. First of all, man, it's been a while. How have you been? How has it been moving to Chattanooga to start your new job here, your first year with the club?
Interesting. Not as advertised in terms of what we were expecting, but a good growing year, a learning year for the club, and just trying to navigate like everybody else, through a pandemic and find our way through it. And I think the good news, the positive news is that we've had some success and we've been able to navigate through it. And the club is looking forward to 2021, and it's been a great growing experience for me personally. And at the end of it, I think we're just all healthy and happy. And right now, you can't ask for much more than that. But it's been a good move and a good transition. Just maybe not exactly what we were expecting.
So for those who haven't been following Chattanooga FC or following your guys' first season in the National Independent Soccer Association, the NISA, catch us up to speed. Can you give a quick assessment of your guys' season?
Sure. It's kind of been stop and start, which I think would be similar for everybody, right? USL, MLS. Now we're seeing it with the NFL, right? Where games are getting canceled and postponed. It's just stop, start, stop, start. So, NISA, I think, did a really good job of navigating through the beginning of the pandemic in the spring. We, like everybody else, postponed our spring season and then eventually canceled our spring season, which for us is different because we operate on a fall-spring calendar. So by canceling the spring season, we kind of had an open window in the summer, so we came up with the idea of the Independent Cup. And it was you think over in England you have the League Cup, and well, now it's Caribou Cup, I guess, and the FA Cup, and here we have the Open Cup. So we came up with this tournament. It allowed our players to get back on the field and train and play. We finished and wrapped that up early August, and then we went into our new season in the fall, and it was condensed. I think the league made a good choice to play a shorter season. We limited our travel. We kind of traveled in a bubbles, played very regionally, kind of like what you've seen with USL. And then we did a bubble tournament up in Detroit, and it was very well done, very well received. We had a pretty decent run in it. We won the Eastern Conference. It was only 4 games, if you will, but we won that in the fall, and the guys did great, performed really well. And then we went to the bubble, and we lost in the semis to Oakland Roots. We ran out of gas a little bit, but overall, Nice has done a good job of navigating it. The clubs have, and CFC's definitely navigated through it as well. So it's been, again, stop-start, but a fun year and some really good performances on the field by the boys.
So it was going to be a big year for you guys. It was going to be your first year as managing director, first year for the club in NISA. And as we've been alluding to, the pandemic hits and kind of throws a lot of that out the window. Being a lower league, again, it was impressive to see this bubble tournament that you guys were able to put on successfully. But being in a lower league, having to deal with the financial hurdles already that sometimes come up, and then having this pandemic hit, how are you guys able to overcome obstacles, figure out things with fans, with your team, kind of getting through those sorts of problems and having a successful season?
It's the success of any good organization as it starts with their mission statement. And CFC's mission statement is we want to use the game of soccer to bring people together in our community across, all ages, races, creeds, socioeconomic status, or for the greater good. So when you're driven by that mission statement, and look, I have to give credit to Jim Cavanaugh, Tom Strunk, Steve Petcher, Pat Barry, as really leaders within, the St. Louis organization. And Jim and Tom are very mission statement-driven people. So when I came here, they already had a mission statement. They've been around since 2009. So it was wasn't easy, but at least we knew what we were trying to pursue. And when you do that, you get favorable responses from your fans and your supporters. You get favorable responses during the pandemic from your corporate partners. All of our corporate partners stayed with us. We had a couple that had to, maybe delay some of their payments and such, but I'll just give you an example. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee, we approached them and said, hey, we have an opportunity to play our first Independent Cup game and put it on local TV, because at that time fans weren't allowed in our stadium. But here we had finally sports coming back, something coming back to the Chattanooga area, live events, and we wanted to put it on local TV for the first time, and they stepped up and allowed us financially to be able to do that. So to answer your question, we get through this by being focused on our mission statement and by being surrounded with some really good people. And that's our season ticket members, our supporter owners, our ownership group, and our board led by our chairman, Tim Kelly, and then our corporate partners. Everybody just rallied around this club, but they've been doing that since 2009. It's just these are different circumstances. So we were then a little bit fortunate too that we were able to open up and play in front of fans for our league matches, and we're going to wrap up with 2 exhibition games here in October, this Saturday night and the next Saturday night against a NISA expansion club, Maryland Bobcats, coming in. So we're able to have about 2,000 fans in our stadium, and support's been great. You navigate through all the safety protocols, and you really want to make sure that you're putting your community in a positive way, and your players not putting them in harm's way, and you're being safe. But again, the people is really what allowed this club to navigate and work their way through this.
So you've already mentioned a long list of accomplishments. I mean, basic being just getting through the season and having a season, but you guys had some on-field success as well in the regular season and making a decent run in that tournament. And you talked about sponsorships and having fans attend safely as well. As you look forward towards the spring season and coming back in 2021, what are you hoping, maybe not necessarily to improve upon, but once circumstances get back to normal, what are you hoping to do with the club?
So we really want to continue to add on to the game day experience, whether that's reduced capacity at Finley Stadium or if we can get back to full capacity at Finley. We want to continue to evolve our game day experience. I think fans at the professional level have certain expectations when they come to a match. And, CFC was an amateur club from 2009 through up to 2020. And, they put on a great game day experience and tons of fans and great crowds and support. But I think we got to take it up a level. And, we were able to do that with a few of our matches this fall. The other thing is that we have to continue to raise the level of play on the field. And our technical staff has done a great job selecting, identifying players, a few familiar faces to some St. Louis folks as well, which has been kind of nice to see, but really good quality people. And we just have to, now we're going into the off season and free agents and players are available. We have to raise that bar again. And, I think those will be the 2 big things that we're looking forward to, in 21.
So let's transition to your former club, St. Louis FC, and what they've been doing. Obviously, it's been a crazy season across the board in this country for teams. But how much have you been keeping up with your former club and how they've been doing this season?
Yeah, keep in touch, with a handful of people back there at the club. Obviously when the pandemic hit, I came back to St. Louis. We hadn't sold our house yet. Daughter was still in school and all that good stuff. So was back for a couple of months and was able to connect socially distance appropriate, but with, some guys in the office and soccer park and keep in touch and Zoom calls and, all those type of things. As far as following the team, I was at the home opener. I was back in town that weekend in March. We had an off weekend. So I saw that game in person when they kicked Miami all over the field, and I haven't watched a minute since. And of course, I would love to watch the game this Saturday, but anybody that knows me and my stitions or superstitions, whatever you want to call them, I'm not going to risk it and take that chance. So when it's all done, I'll go back and probably watch a few of those games and see how our guys are doing. I see the highlights on social media, stay in touch with a bunch of friends and a handful of players back there. So I've been following along with interest, and but I haven't, watched any games. I don't know why. It's just been hard for me to watch live sports when everything kind of came back into it. Even with the Blues, I watched a few of their early playoff games. I guess they only had a couple, but watched a couple of those, and I just haven't really watched too much live sports. It's just been kind of hard to get back into it in terms of watching on TV with no crowds and things that way. But I'm so happy for the club, so happy for the supporters. Obviously a difficult year at the pandemic, and then I'm sure we'll talk about everything else that's occurring there, but I couldn't be happier for that group of players, for Coach Chichu, the Lewigans, everybody. It's just been unbelievable.
Well, it makes sense, obviously, since you're busy with Chattanooga, but it had to have been tough on some level, as you just alluded to, when you heard about the news, officially when the news broke, that the team would be folding operations after the 2020 season. What were some of the emotions or thoughts or maybe conversations that you had with people on that day when the news officially broke?
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, it was something that we kind of had an idea was going to happen. As Pat has said, and Jim and everyone, that there was a likelihood that this could be the outcome, maybe a year earlier than people thought. It was a tough week. I think you put a lot of heart and a lot of emotion into building something that you think should represent the club and the city and the area. And the whole reason, it's been stated well by many people, the reason that we started that club back in 2014 was to try to put St. Louis back on the map, and to try to. We had been left out. We had seen what Minnesota had been able to do, and Indy when they were in the NASL, and then of course they made the jump to USL. I mean, all these cities in the Midwest were starting to really grow and prosper with professional soccer. And here's St. Louis, a great soccer city, left on the outside looking in, and it stunk. And so it was an emotional week for me. And I would say that I think people recognize that. A lot of text messages, a lot of thank yous, emails, people reaching out to my wife on Facebook and Twitter because I'm not on social media. But what really hit me was a supporter here in Chattanooga shot me a text and said, "Hey, man, I'm sure today was a little bit tough. Couldn't be happier to have you here. And, you got a lot of good memories there, and they'll keep helping us make some more good memories." And that just really kind of hit home for me. Feel terrible for the fans there that aren't going to have, that level of soccer for a couple of years, but they'll figure it out. St. Louis will have success. And I think we all can see by the season ticket deposits for the MLS group that it's a soccer city, and they got some bright days in front of it. And I would say the last thing is, there's been some people on social media going, "Oh, how can people celebrate their club, going away with a new club?" And all I can say is, if you're not there, then you don't get it. And that's not a slight at anybody, but there's a lot of trust in Jim and what's being put together from and so I think when people on the outside view it, but until you're in somebody's shoes, you can't judge them. But it was definitely a tough week.
Well, the reason for obviously a lot of people reaching out is because you were with the club for basically its entirety. You were there from the beginning, and you helped grow it into something that became quite prominent. When you look back on your tenure and those original first couple of years with the club to where you got it to in your final year with the unprecedented Open Cup success, with the team setting a record with 5 straight wins and some of the off the field accomplishments that you were able to help build. I want to ask that, did it meet your expectations, or did your tenure and what you were able to accomplish exceed your expectations of what you hoped to do in such a short time frame?
Yeah, I think it was great. I mean, it was a great time in terms of expectations and such. I try to put high expectations, on myself and those that I work with. And I think really to scale back, we have to go back. And so here you are in 2014. You got Patrick Berry, president, but hadn't been in professional sports for quite a while since his time indoors with, the Ambush and Steamers and stuff. You have a first-time GM who, while may have some experience at some high levels of play as a coach and such, was new. A new coach, with Dale Schilly at the professional level. So, we were, maybe a little naive, a little green, however you want to say it, those first couple of years. But once we got things sorted out, you're now seeing it. In terms of the things that you mentioned last year with Ant, bringing Ant in as a head coach changed things, and the culture that he was able to establish in that locker room, the way that they got into the playoffs in 2018. Last year, obviously not making the playoffs, a disappointment, but that Open Cup run, I don't know that you'd trade that for anything. I really think it kindled some spirit and really got some things going again in different parts of the city that maybe hadn't been following St. Louis FC. I think the other thing that you would point to is the academy, and what combining, those two St. Louis Gallagher academies into one under the St. Louis FC umbrella really took off. And if you look at, the Jack Mayers and the Aiden Stanleys and the guys and everything that was able to accomplish with them and the staff that was put together, you look back with some fond memories. There's a ton of disappointment too, but I think when we got into USL, we had certain expectations, and we thought that we were going to be able to manage them. And then quickly the game changed when you bring in, the group in Louisville and everything that they've done, and you bring over, high spending teams from the NASL, Indy, Tampa, Ottawa at the time. The stakes raised, and maybe we weren't ready for them, but credit to Jim and Tom and the leadership, is they allowed us to make those changes and to do those things to get the club to be competitive. And then in the end, the club's been very competitive. So overall, a lot of success and a lot of fun.
So you've mentioned a few things and a few accomplishments and basically already a few memories, but I just wanted to ask, when you look back with St. Louis FC as the club are folding up after this season, some of your other favorite memories, maybe some, not so much on the game day experience side, maybe from just the day-to-day operations or the people that you met along the way. What are some of the favorite things from your time there?
Man, you're gonna get me teary-eyed on here this one. You didn't tell me about that. No, I think it's the people that you meet along the way, and that's people from the league office. I think of our first visits, we went to Sacramento and we met with Warren Smith, who now is at San Diego, and just everything that he taught us. Erica Bjork has become a good friend in the business. She was at Sacramento. We went to Charleston. We visited with people. We did a lot. So it's the people in the league and the people in the league office that you met. And then, I would say one of the proudest things I have is the number of interns that we brought into St. Louis FC that have moved on to other positions. There's people that are working for the Portland Timbers, Chicago Fire, U.S. Soccer, Austin Bold. We were able to take and give some people some experience and opportunities and then see where they could go with it. And that's a really good memory, and then just the camaraderie of the people in the office, the technical staff. Aaron Vega, the kit man, the kit Kaiser, he changed the profile of the club and the professionals, and he did. The ticket guys, the people. I mean, Pat Berry's, one of my best friends, and because of the time we spent together. And Kara Shuby, who's behind the scenes, is the ops manager, but she makes the game day run. She makes that team run. So without a doubt, it's the people. Remove the games, the wins and losses, like you said. There's a lot of good ones and a lot of bad ones there, but man, it's the people at the end of it that drive it. And that's why I came here, because of the people. They blew me away when I met them, and I just couldn't be happier to be here with them. But I am thankful the people I got to meet along the way.
So obviously you got a unique relationship with the likes of Jim Cavanaugh and Time Strunk, some of the people who will be involved with St. Louis City SC when they get things going. In terms of, I don't know if you've been paying attention to some of the hires that they've made or the progress that they've made on that front, or have had conversation with those guys. What are your thoughts on what they've been doing? And considering that you were able to help grow a professional club here in St. Louis, if they were to ask you for any advice, what would you maybe tell them?
Yeah, I think the hires are interesting. They've got a good local feel with a few of the people that have come in, and they just announced one. And apologies, I don't follow it enough, but they announced somebody today or yesterday in the community relations side. And look, they're going local, which I think is huge, is important. Matt Seebeck is somebody I knew as a player, somebody I talked to at Worldwide when he was there, and I think that's a great one. I'm not as familiar in the technical side with the sporting director that they brought in. I've had people reach out to me about him and stuff, but he seems to be engaged and out and about. So look, I think they're on top of it. But you're talking about, good people in terms of what the enterprise group has been able to do, what Worldwide's been able to do. They're going to make good hires and they're going to bring good people in. In terms of advice, I would say that they're going to do it their own way, and they're going to do things that are going to really fit in St. Louis. And I think they're being very conscious of that. I think as they start to get deeper and deeper in, getting people that have that MLS experience is going to be very, very important. And they've done that, with the few people they brought in already. So, look, they're smart people. They don't need advice from me. They're going to figure it out. And, I think it'll be interesting to see how it all comes together.
All right, I'll get you out of here on this. Obviously, you've got your own things going on with Chattanooga and the games coming up. But, of course, St. Louis FC will be in action this Saturday on the road in Louisville. The final rendition of the Kings Cup, the first time in the playoffs, of course. It sounds like there will be a decent amount of fans who will be making the trip over to Louisville for that game. You were able to build a real deep and personal relationship with the supporters group, with all the fans here at St. Louis FC. I know they want to hear something from you. What's your message to those guys as they get ready for Saturday?
Yeah, look, I think, again, those people don't need any messages. As a supporters group, they have just done so many things in the community. I just hope they can make the impact on Saturday. And that game that they made in Louisville, in the very first game they ever did, because I remember walking to the stadium with them, and it was, Louisville was blown away, and they had to up their game because of what the Louligans did in that first game. So nobody's surprised that there's a ton of them that are figuring their way out to get there. I hope it's a great day for them. I hope it's a great day on the field. I got a green and blue shirt on today. I'm not wearing a purple shirt. I will not wear a purple shirt. No offense. Respect to those guys and what they've done. But look, the Louligans and the fans are going to make that trek. They don't. They know what to do, and they know how to support through good ones and through tough ones. And I'm excited they're going to get a chance to see their boys play, because that hasn't happened right here for a while. I mean, they haven't been. I know some fans are able to travel to Hartford, but for a lot of the games leading up to the playoffs, they weren't able to see them play, and that hurts. That's hard. I saw the pain it put, our fans here, the Chattanooga Hooligans, through the first couple of games where they couldn't, and then I've seen the joy on their face underneath the mask, I guess, since they've been able to come in. But yeah, I'm excited and happy for a lot of good friends that are going to get a chance to go see their club, play in a game on Saturday.
Well, Jeremy, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me. For today, or for the Chattanooga fans watching this, you guys have a couple matches coming up at your home stadium. Are tickets still available?
Yeah, tickets available at cfctix.com. So we got a game this Saturday night at 7:30, and then our final one on the 24th at 7:30. So we're excited for people to come out and get a chance to celebrate this crazy year, see the boys in blue on the field, and I appreciate you having me on, Josh.
Well, I know everybody here back in St. Louis is wishing you great success. So continue to have a great finish to the year, and hopefully, we'll have a great big win on Saturday for St. Louis FC. Jeremy, thank you so much for your time.
Appreciate it. Thank you.